Hey, Tim Sykes here. Busy weekend for me, full of research and charts, which I'm going to go over in a second. But first, I have to go over some housekeeping. I was going to do a free webinar about how to adapt to this new market on November 1st. We have changed it now to November 15th. It's giving me an extra 2 weeks to prepare. I have so much good information, I can't try and fit it all in and organize it in the next 24, 48 hours. I need a little more time. Trust me, the extra 2 weeks is going to be worth it. And this webinar is going to change your life with this changing market. So I'll post a link just below this video, or if you follow me on Twitter, I've been tweeting out links pretty much every day. Also on Twitter, I love getting this. This is from my student Brett Russell. And he said, with 2 days profit brings my October profits to over 23,000. September was over 11,000. You have made this possible for me. Thank you. No, Brett, thank you. Because while I put these lessons out there and I teach you rules and patterns and stuff like that, the vast majority of people don't even bother watching the videos. They're not willing to do the work. Everybody wants to be rich, but like, at a gym, 80% of people who have a gym membership don't go to the gym. Everybody wants to be fit and healthy, but if you don't go to the gym, you're not going to get there. Having a membership does nothing. So thank you, Brett, for being so dedicated and actually studying all my video lessons. And now you see how it grows your account, especially month over month. Forget about just making 11,000 in a month. To make 11,000 in a month in September and then double that in October. That's awesome. But your second tweet really got to me. I love seeing this. He says, thanks. I work most of the year in Iraq and trading is about to make it possible to stay home soon and enjoy life with my family. And that's what trading should be used for. Not necessarily, some people aren't all about family, and that's cool. Whatever you are about, it allows you to focus on that, although you should be about family. It allows you freedom. And that is the beauty of trading when you start compounding your profits. I know many of you guys with just a few $1,000s and you're making 10, 20, 50, $100 on a trade and you're like, how do you do this? It takes time. You have to grow your knowledge account. You have to grow your experience. You have to grow your comfort level. You need to grow your account before you can really start making this kind of money. But within a year, 2 years, 3 years of you initially beginning to study with me, even if you only have a few $1,000s, as my top students prove, I'm a little different than the other teachers. There's a lot of teachers in the stock market, but no one else is teaching a specific strategy to grow your account exponentially. Everybody else starts with these huge amounts. And okay, that's wonderful, but most people don't have a huge amount. My top students and I pretty much all started with just a few $1,000s. So Brett, congratulations, that's awesome. And one more housekeeping thing before I get into the charts. Trader Checklist, which is my 11.5-hour free DVD. It's on Investimonials. So I'd really appreciate you guys leaving a review, an honest review. I don't care what you say in it. I just want it to be honest. And I want you to do this soon in the next week. I haven't even asked for any reviews. Already 13 of you or 12 of you have left reviews. That's cool. But I'm asking you now because I want your review of the 11.5 hours content so far, which I think is incredible, but you tell me what you think. And also tell me what you want to see more of, because the beautiful thing about this guide is that it can keep being added to. In fact, when I released it, I did not even add a chapter on short selling, and I did not add a chapter specifically on how to grow your account exponentially. I talk a lot about finding the right setups and finding the best trades and the indicators, but there are more chapters coming. So I'm going to be working on these next 2 chapters in the next week or so. I'm going to be releasing them to those of you who have already watched Trader Checklist. So if you have not watched it, get on it. And I also want your feedback because I'm going to keep adding more and more to this. I don't know how long it'll be by the end of it, but that's what this whole project is about. It's not just a one-time guide. It's a moving, living organism, and I love it, and I'm so proud of the feedback already, but I want more. So please go to Investimonials, leave your honest review. Honestly, what do you think about this? Did it provide you with some value? Also, let's talk about some stocks, because there's a lot. Earnings winners and momentum stocks are the 2 main kind of stocks that I want to trade. OCN is an earnings winner. And I thought that, the past 2 days, it's teased this breakout over the highs of 430-ish. And both days, it couldn't really hold on to it. But I didn't chase it. In fact, I actually patiently waited the first day, and I made a video lesson last week specifically saying that, it wasn't closing strong, so I didn't want to be long, here at like 430, 425. I wasn't sure if it could hold it. And sure enough, by day's end, it was down to 410. But it did threaten to break out on Friday, and it couldn't really hold it, although it closed decently strong. Long story short, it's a choppy stock. And, unfortunately, it hasn't really broken out as much as I wanted, or as much as I think anybody wanted. The big earnings winner of the day on Friday was actually GRVY. And this one was spotted in my chat room very early and, spiked, nearly doubled in the first hour and a half of trading. This is what earnings winners can do. So you see OCN fail to really spike that much, and GRVY succeeded. Welcome to earnings winners. It's not a perfect pattern. And yet, earnings winners I will buy again and again and again, because the more times than not, they will break out and they will, be pretty solid. So congrats to those of you who bought GRVY. A better idea on Friday was in my watch list. I send out my watch list every night. We had 11 stocks to watch going into Friday. And right here at the bottom, I specifically said, look, CANN, CBDS, CGRW are the 3 wheat stocks I still might dip by, as they've been strong heading into the key November wheat vote. I can see the potential for some short squeezing either tomorrow or more likely next week. And I wrote this Thursday night, so I'm talking about either Friday or next week. And these 3 stocks, CANN, huge Friday short squeeze from the low 3s all the way up to 4. CBDS, nice squeeze from 525 up to 625. And CGRW was the laggard of the group, but it still spiked, a nice 10% off its lows. I'm actually long CGRW over the weekend because it's the laggard of the group, and now it has this double bottom in here at like 210, 205. So really there's not much risk for me. The question is, can it bounce much more? And I don't know the answer to that. Last time it had one green day, it had another green day, followed up. It actually didn't close at 220. This is an erroneous chart. This should be a green day. It closed, I think, at 227. So it would be a green day. It would not just be this candle. E-Trade Pro does not have the best data. I should actually be using stocks to trade. But long story short, when this thing has had 3 down days in a row, it bounced, and now we have it again. It should bounce. CANN, same kind of thing, where you had, 3 green days, 2 red days, 4 green days, 1 red day, 3 green days, and then we had some consolidation, and now we have another bottom. But every time you have this kind of 1 green day off the red, it seems to bounce. You can see here 2 reds and then a bounce, 1 red and then a bounce. And then here it's kind of gotten a little slower just because I think the stock got a little overextended. But I'm looking for further bouncing on CANN, CBDS. This had its nice first real big bounce day. And then CGRW, which is a laggard. And also AMMJ did really well. This one actually broke out to new highs. This one has been holding near its highs, probably the best performing weed stock of them all. So congratulations to those of you who dip bought and who are long. I think that we're going to have more squeezing into this vote that's coming up. I would not believe in this industry. I've been buying them on breakouts and on dips only. And I'm very specific. I'm like a sniper. I'm not a weed believer. I'm not like, oh, this industry is changing the world. Let's just hold on forever. I think that's a very dangerous way to think. TRTC, for example, had the nice breakout here over the former highs, 51, only up to 55. And then what did it do? Absolutely nothing. It's crashed. So even if you buy the most perfect breakouts, it can still fail. I would be very, very suspicious. GRNH2 had a nice big breakout here. Let me scroll back over this high here. 12 cents goes to 15 cents and then loses promptly 30% of its value. MJNA has fared a little better, and this just keeps going. So it's not an exact science, but please be careful with these weed stocks, okay? A few years ago, I wrote this article, or I was featured in this article in Men's Health or Men's Journal. I always get them confused. You can Google it. Timothy Sykes, buying high. And I was going up against this promoter of weed stocks, and he thought that they were changing the world, and he thought that they were going to go, up to amazing, amazing feats and heights. And guess what? They didn't. They crashed, and he lost everything, and all of his followers lost everything. So do not believe in these companies. They are simply trading vehicles. And that said, I think that they are, doing quite nicely right now. So I think that they're good up to, the next few days when you have this upcoming weed vote that's happening in early November. I would be very, very careful, though, with all of them. So anyways, that's today's lesson. I'm still going to be looking at earnings winners. I'm still going to be looking at weed stocks. If we get another play like GRVI, I would not be chasing it right now, by the way. But look for earnings winners. And a lot of you guys are asking me, how do you spot earnings winners? Well, you find them by looking at big percent gainers pre-market or after hours or at the market open. Do not try to anticipate earnings ahead of time. Ignore earnings calendars. I know what I teach is kind of weird, but trust me, I've been doing this a while. If you start looking at every earnings report, you're going to form a bias. You're going to get emotionally involved and attached to it, and you just shouldn't, okay? Because frankly, that's going to bias you and really screw with your trading. Whereas if you just find them after they've already spiked a little bit, you're not biased. They don't have to be an earnings winner, and you just play it by the price action. And GRVY, this was a winner right near the market open. The chat rooms picked it up very early on Friday, and you could have easily bought it in the 7s or 8s or 9s before it went to the 10s, 11s, 12s. So plenty of time if you have the right mentality, if you're prepared. So I was choosing the wrong stock with OCN. It spiked, but it couldn't hold it. LQMT, I had the other day, and I actually played this one a little too safely. I was buying it in here at 18 cents, and it didn't really break out, so I sold it roughly break even, and then it finished strong. So on OCN, I was right to sell into strength. On LQMT, perhaps I should have given it a little more time. This is not an exact science. I see some of you guys being like, oh my God, if I had held this stock, it would have been amazing. Or, I screwed up and I got out too soon. It's not an easy game. Remind yourself, 90% of traders lose. So you're trying to obviously take the meat of the move. You obviously want to make as much as you can, but don't ever feel bad. Don't ever be like, oh, I could have done so much better. Learn from every trade, good or bad. Okay, LQMT, I was buying on rumors in the multi-month breakout. I went in with a thesis. It didn't really spike that much. It couldn't test the morning high when I was in it, maybe because I was in it midday. Maybe I should have waited until the afternoon, because then guess what? It did test the high. Although, even when it broke out to 19.5 and it closed here at 20, it barely got to 21, so the breakout was kind of weak. So even if I had held overnight, I could have made an extra penny or two. Ooh, oh no. Do you think that I'm feeling guilty? Do you think that I'm really feeling bad about it? No, I learned from it. AMRN is another example. This one had this perfect, absolutely perfect multi-month breakout here above 345. And on Thursday morning, it went to 360. And I was like, I'm just going to give this, a little more time. It has to prove that it can hold this breakout. The breakout is only 10 cents a share. This is kind of a weak breakout. A few people emailed me, and you're like, this is a perfect breakout. Why aren't you buying? Because even if a stock breaks out by a few cents a share, it needs to hold that breakout. It needs to confirm it. Otherwise, it could be a fake out breakout. And that's exactly what happened with AMRN. If anybody followed Technical Analysis 101, okay, a lot of people are just like, Tim, screw all your teaching. I'm just going to buy breakouts. Trading is easy. No, it's not, because you're buying technical breakouts. Every single indicator, every single trading teacher who does not teach real stuff and who does not teach the subtleties of trading, guess what? They all got crushed as they bought a perfect fake out breakout that actually led to this stock dropping from 360 all the way down to 310. So you lose 50 cents a share. You're losing nearly 20% in 2 days. Does that seem like a perfect breakout buying opportunity? No, it's a fake out. So always look at these charts that could have, would have, should have, almost broke out, and then think, wait a minute. Sometimes the market is not perfectly rational. Sometimes the market has a will of its own, and that can happen on any single trade. So trade scared. Don't get angry if you exit too soon or too late and the stock does something better. No one is perfect. The stock market is not perfect. It's all about trying to learn from what's working and what's not working, and you try and do your best each and every day. That's my message for today. I'll see you guys in the chat room. Thank you.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.